So what we want within this webinar is we want clarity, we want direction. Oh, that's really bright, isn't it? And we want action, okay? So this is why I want you to all to join in with the exercises, okay? I don't just want you to listen and think, oh, I do this, I'll have a go at this later on. No, we want to make sure that we have speed to action going forward from this, okay? So just to let you know, if you do want, because you've signed up to this webinar, you get a free 15-minute business audit. So this is personal to you. All you need to do is grab your phone and just scan that QR code and it will take you through to Calendly where you can book it in. It's just a 15-minute phone call. There's no sell on the end or anything like that. Essentially what we'll do is we'll just personalize this experience, audit everything within your business. I'll figure out what the actual bottleneck is, what's holding you back, what's possible for you in the next 90 days to 6 months, and we'll come up with a little bit of a 3-step action plan for you as well. So if you do want that, then just scan the barcode. I know a couple of you have already booked calls actually, so if you have done that, don't worry. But yeah, that's there for you if you want it. So this is essentially the freedom model, and this is the model that built my online coaching business to grow over 200k per year, and it's also the model that I've used to build this mentorship and the 300 students that have gone through the mentorship. Okay, so what we want in the middle is freedom. Finance, location, time, freedom. And for the majority of the guys that come into my mentorship, they want to hit 10k a month, but with a flexible lifestyle. Okay, and it's doable. I know 10k a month gets thrown around a lot, and a lot of people kind of take the piss out of it. But if it's a goal, then there's no reason to find it a bit cringe. I think it's just been a little bit overused within marketing, but it's a good goal and it's a nice marketable goal because for the majority of coaches, they can hit that within 12 months. So there's 3 things that usually stand in the way of a coach reaching that level. It's poor lead flow, inconsistent income, and they feel overwhelmed or they get overwhelmed. Okay. So even if a coach has lots of leads and they're making lots of sales, making lots of money, chances are they're really good at marketing, they're really good at sales, but they're not very good at systems, or they haven't taken the time to install the systems, and that's when they become overwhelmed. I imagine the vast majority of you guys are here because you have either poor lead flow or inconsistent income. Maybe you have all 3. Okay. So what we want as coaches and what we deliver within our mentorship is massive impact, dream income, and time abundance. And we do this with these mechanisms around the outside. Okay, the omnipresent content flow, daily lead machine, authority maker, results and referral system, 5-star fulfillment, the 4-hour workday, clients on auto, the hero offer, and no cringe sales system. Now, we don't have time in this webinar to go through all of these, but what I've done is I've chosen 3 to 4 to introduce you to, give you a snippet and give you an actionable building step to help you get the most out of this webinar and essentially take that first step to bridging over within your business. Is that cool? So what we're going to take a look at today is we're going to have an intro into the daily lead machine, clients and auto. We're actually not going to do the hero offer. We're going to do a different type of offer. I know most of you have a hero offer, but I actually think it's letting you down and letting your business down. And we're going to go into that in a moment. And we're going to look at the 4-hour workday. Everybody happy? Is everybody happy with going through with that framework for this webinar? Yeah? Cool. Wicked. Okay, so the daily lead machine. Let's jump straight into it. Okay, so your leads. Most of you are probably one of 5 levels. Your leads are either blocked. Okay, it's kind of like dripping. So think of like a little tap that's kind of letting out a drop every now and then. Okay, maybe it's like trickling, or it's a trickle of leads. Okay, is it a flow, or is it pouring? What I want you to do is just figure out where you sit on that chart. Now, most people, to be honest, it doesn't really matter where you are because most of you are going to be either, oh, the highlighter's not working. Let's bring it back. You're either going to be here or here. And simplified, that means you have leads, or you have the amount of leads that you want, or you don't have the amount of leads that you want. How many people are in the red? Just pop your hand up if it's you. Yeah, how many people are in the green? Cool, nobody I don't think. Unless Bob, Dunk or Alex are in the green. Okay, So 3 little tips going into content for 2025. This changes all the time, and it's an absolute nightmare for me because I have to constantly update these trainings. Luckily, we updated this about a month ago, so this is really up to date right now. Number 1 for 2025 is brand is non-negotiable. Okay? Build a personal brand, and you've probably seen, if you guys follow a guy called Simon, I imagine most of you do. Simon Booth, is it Simon Booth? I think. Essentially, he's a content coach for coaches, and he's big on personal brand right now. Number 2, treat your content like an experiment. Try not to look for that one like golden goose, because it doesn't really work like that. Experiment with different formats. Okay, reels, carousels, trials, images, videos, music, no music, trial everything. And storytelling is everything in 2025. Okay, and we're going to go into that in a little bit more detail. So this is the content code for 2025, and essentially everything that you post should be one of, there's 3 things on here, but there's actually 4 things. So the big 3 are how, hearts, and hot takes, and the missing one is an ask, essentially, or your offers. Okay, but these are the big 3. The majority of your content should be how. Next up are the hearts, and then every now and then you should be posting a hot take. Now, these are the principles. The principles should stay the same, but the methodology can change. Okay, and that's what you can experiment with. So it doesn't matter whether you post reels, whether you post carousels, whether you post images, doesn't matter. Don't get hung up on that. What you do want to get hung up on is the actual content inside the piece, which is this. So a how, what it does is it gives you credibility and expertise, but there's a slight tweak to the how. Everybody used to post how like a like a how-to. How-tos are like your talking head reels, and you've probably all noticed that talking heads are like dead right now. Like you get crickets for them, which is really annoying for me because I used to do loads of how-tos. Essentially, you can use that same piece of content, but you need to reframe it like a story. How I or how my client did X rather than how to do X. Okay, back it up with real results, case studies, and insights. Make complex ideas simple and actionable. So things like how my client Sarah did X without having to X. Okay, that's how you produce a how. In terms of the hearts, this is how you connect with your audience. And you'll probably find that the hearts get the most engagement on your page. Okay, when you talk about your life, when you talk about your family, when you talk about your mistakes, all of a sudden you think, wow, I think I've just cracked Instagram. And then you go back to posting a how or a talking head or something and crickets again. Okay, it makes people feel seen and understood. Okay, show your behind the scenes, your life, your personal journey, your struggles, both your wins and your losses. I put a post up, I can't remember if it was last week sometime, where it was 11 things that went right, 11 things that went wrong, and then 11 lessons to take into the following week. I did really, really well. If any of you guys want to steal that idea, feel free. Be emotionally compelling and engaging. So how I felt when X happened. Okay? And a hot take. So a hot take is where you are bold and contrarian. This is how you stand out from the competition. The coaching industry is saturated. Okay, we need to do more and more now to stand out amongst our competition, and this is how you do it. So challenge industry norms and outdated advice. Spark conversation and make people want to think differently. Position yourself as a leader with a unique perspective. Okay, so think about what kind of hook is going to grab attention. So something like, today my clients piss me off, and then you can go into why. Okay, so hot takes right now that are really big are things like Ozempic. Okay, another one that's for me would be like healthy desserts, like high protein, look good desserts that are actually disgusting, that loads of coaches pretend are amazing and force down their clients' necks. Rather than try and force your clients to have a healthy dessert every night, why don't you just let them have a decent cheesecake at the end of the week or something? Okay, so what I want you to do, just very quickly, is go on your phone, and I want you to go to your reels and find your best 3 performing reels based on views. Okay, so do this really quick. Just jump on your phone, slide across straight into your reels, find your best 3 performing reels. Once you've found them, I want you to have a think about, how can I repurpose this piece of content as either a how, a heart, or a hot take? Okay, and you can just write it down in that box below, or just write it down on your piece of paper and then just write underneath it, repurpose as how, heart, or a hot take. After you've done that with your reels, I want you to, you might have to do a little bit more digging with this. I think you need to go into your insights, but I want you to find your best post essentially, or your best performing post based on engagement. So likes, comments, and shares. So these are like your carousels and stuff. And I think you have to go into your like professional dashboard on this, your professional insights. Find your top 3, and again, think about how can I repurpose these 3 pieces of content as a how, a heart, or a hot take. And then your homework for this week is to repost, or well, you don't have to do it this week, but maybe across the following couple of weeks. You've essentially got 6 posts there that you know are going to go off. It's absolutely fine to repurpose your content, but what I want you to do is repurpose the value within it and reframe it as a how, a heart, or a hot take.
Dan, can I ask a question?
Yes, mate. Oh, we froze.
On there, within S&C, or is my connection okay?
It's all right, you're back now, mate. Sorry, Bali Wi-Fi.
Yeah, nightmare. But I've got a lot of hot takes on there. A lot of my stuff's like within S&C, and I'll chuck them up, and some of them would be like memes, kind of like memeing an idea or something like that. How could I make some of those into a heart? My screen's not loading a lot of the content on the heart thing. I can't really see it. But like, how would I make that into a how and a heart? It's more kind of the heart, the connection, the like how you could do this.
So you're saying memes, sorry, have been performing really well.
Well, not memes, but like lots of. I've got a couple of things breaking things down, more like S&C things. So there's one like how to train your core properly for mountain biking. And,
okay, yeah.
Breaking myths. So like say for that one, like getting people to train their core through rotation and flexion extension versus just like holding a neutral position, which is like outdated S&C. How do I make that into sort of like a
So think about how you can tell it as a story. So it could either be about you or a client. So you could be how I shaved 10 seconds off my client's split time by changing this technique or changing this thing. Maybe it's like, I don't know anything about mountain biking, but height of the saddle or any of those things that you just mentioned. So you're talking about the thing, but you're saying, what was the result that someone got from doing that thing?
Nice. Yeah. Cool. So it just relates it to the individual. That's the main thing.
Yeah. So it's literally exactly the same stuff. You're just reframing it as a story. Why is this valuable to the person who's consuming it? Why should they listen to you?
Awesome. Thanks.
Cool. No problem at all. Okay, so that's in terms of organic content. Okay, really easy switches. This actually makes it super easy because the only thing you have to do is think about, okay, these are the 3 posts that I need to be posting on a pretty much a daily basis, as long as with my asks. Okay, you can turbocharge this with some simple ads. We don't have time to go into it with this webinar. I like ads. Ads get poo-pooed all the time within the coaching industry, not because they're bad, but because a lot of coaches use like hero offers that essentially they'll say like without. So I help you do X, Y, and Z without this thing. And what a load of mentors were doing at one point was saying, I'll help you get 10 new clients without using ads. And that was because they were they were calling out the people who didn't have money to put into ads, or trying to make it look as easy as possible. Okay, so ads have got a little bit of a bad name within the coaching industry, but ads work brilliantly if you know what you're doing with them. That's the big thing. A lot of coaches waste money on ads because they don't do their research. They don't know what they're doing. They throw a load of money at boosting a post that they like, and then they wonder why they're not getting any clients. And it's because they're not thinking about ads as a strategy. Okay? When you're working with ads, all ads is doing is just opening the door to someone. Okay? It's doing nothing else. It's not inviting them in. It's not saying hello or connecting. So ads is like one tiny piece of a much larger strategy. And this is why a lot of coaches waste money with them. So use trust-free ads, use an icebreaker, and sell by chat. It's a really easy way. And by posting these on a daily basis, you should be attracting multiple leads on a daily basis, starting conversations on a daily basis, and signing at least 1 to 2 clients on a daily basis. And you can scale this up as much as you want because you can scale up this process within your ads. If you know that your ads are working, you can scale up your ads. If you don't want to do the conversations within Sell by Chat, you hire a setter and you get them to do the conversations. They book in the calls for you, and away you go. It's essentially you can scale that as large as you want. Okay, it's a really simple strategy to do. The things that you have to get right are the type of ads, the ad setup, the icebreaker, okay, which is really, really important. I think this is what a lot of coaches get wrong, because everybody's used to being DM'd now or cold DM'd, and they obviously just don't work. It's a horrible way to do it. Most of you have probably received my icebreaker. If you follow me on Instagram, you've probably had my video where I introduce myself. Okay? Everyone put their hand up or just give us a nod if you've experienced that. Yeah, cool. Yeah, awkward for the both of us, I know. But yeah, it's a nice way to introduce yourself and start a conversation. And I sign a client every week just from sending out that icebreaker. Okay, I drive traffic to my Instagram with these stress-free ads. I use that icebreaker. I go straight into Sell by Chat, and I sign a client every week just with that. And that's just one strategy within my kind of my framework. Okay, so this is Ibrahim. He did exactly the same thing. So he's a calisthenics coach in Bali, actually. And he went from 5k to over 20k, and now he travels all over the world. He's kind of transitioned actually now from calisthenics into this kind of like I guess it's like man coaching, I guess is the best way to say what it is. But yeah, doing really, really well. And those are the kind of simple changes that we made within his business. So next we're going to go into clients on auto. So this is where we start to automate a little bit. Sorry, that's one thing that I wanted to know actually about ads. Like, ads are great because they take the pressure off you. I don't do any cold DMs or outreach or anything like that. Okay? All of my leads are inbound. Okay? The only thing that I do, which is slightly cringeworthy, is I send out that icebreaker. That's as far as it goes. And I only send that icebreaker to people who follow me. Okay? So if you want to automate your lead gen, this is a really easy first step to do it. So
No, like with that, and actually I've seen it happen with you, and it's like you're saying it's cringy, and I feel like when you get on a call with a coach, it's very easy to perceive it as, oh, this is cringy, but when you've gone through so much of it, like I've obviously done other mentorships and stuff like this, you know what's happening, like you're being sold to, so I think it's like actually it's not that cringy because you start to believe in the person because you already know what they're doing. So if you can create that credibility for yourself with people that don't know, it's such a power. That's something I've learned literally in the last 2 days that you've taught me.
I think it's because of how you think. Like when you're looking at things, when you're looking at how people talk to you, especially people who are potentially selling to you, you're looking at what they're doing. So you're kind of going a level deeper. You're obviously just a clever bloke. Okay, so what we're going to look at is something called the buyer's index. So 50% of your audience will never buy from you. And that's okay. It's just the way of the world. Okay. 1% of your audience are what we call now buyers. And these are the people that are triggered by your short form content. Okay. They're just in the right amount of pain or frustration, and they come across your profile or your piece of content at the right time. Okay. All the stars have aligned. You've sent out a piece of content that's connected with that person, and they fill in your application form, or they reach out to you, or they ask for your lead magnet. Essentially, they perform an action. This is probably what the majority of you are relying on right now, but it's not a very reliable way to build and to grow and scale a coaching business. Okay, because essentially we're just leaving it up to luck. Obviously, you can increase the amount of content you're putting out, and you can get better at content, but you're still just relying on that 1%. What we want to look at is this 49% here, who are essentially the later buyers. Okay, these are the people who are interested in you. They're intrigued. They may know you, they may like you, but they don't quite trust you yet. Or they may trust you, but they may not trust that you can get the results that are for them. Okay, they may have seen your results with other people, or maybe even yourself, but they're not 100% trusting that you can help them achieve that thing as well. But by focusing on building trust and nurturing this square here, this is how you build consistency and reliability in your business, because this is a snowball effect. Okay, we're not just reliant on us posting every single day. What we're doing is we want to build an omnipresent content platform. Okay, so lots of pieces of content, both short form and long form, on lots of different platforms. And we want automated systems, again, automated processes that send our prospects and send our leads to all of these different platforms. So when someone comes into our world, within a week or two, we're everywhere. They're consuming our information on so when they go on Instagram, we're there. When they go on LinkedIn, they're there. When they go on Spotify, our podcasts are there. They've downloaded our lead magnets. They go into their emails. They've got emails from us. So when that trigger does happen, usually when the pain becomes too much of a burden and they want to learn and they want to solve it, essentially, we're at the forefront. We're at the front of their minds. Okay? But we need to do this automatically. We can't do this ourselves because you will just overwhelm yourself with admin. Okay? So this is where Clients and Auto comes into it. And this is actually the first time that I've kind of created it as this little like space thing, which I think is actually quite cool. I was quite proud of myself with this. So what we're doing is we're working outwards. We're working in. So on the on the widest point of the solar system, just here, we have our short form content. Okay, just here. So your Instagram posts, your stories and stuff like that. We then have our prompts on the next level. Okay, things called micromagnets, which are huge right now. So most of you have probably produced lead magnets and you've probably found that you get crickets when you try and advertise them. A really good way to increase your engagement right now or to start conversations is to, on your stories, start off with something called a negative hook. So essentially you're addressing a negative emotion, okay, or a negative feeling or something that someone is doing wrong. You then give your take on it and then you offer something called a micromagnet to help solve a micro problem. So, and it has to be something small or short. So it can't be an ebook or a 15-minute video or anything like that. What work really well here are like quick-fire quizzes or lists or here's my like task sheet. Those kind of things work really well for micromagnets. Okay, it's a micro thing that solves a micro problem for someone right now. So you call out the problem first and then you offer something to solve it, which has as little friction as possible. Okay, and you can do this multiple times per week, and I do. And a good tip with this is build the thing after. Don't build the thing first because you're just procrastinating. So what I do is I do a story, I call out the problem, I offer a thing, and most of the time I haven't even built the thing. And if I get enough people tap the sticker, well, to be honest, I do it every time, but I don't mean get enough people tap the sticker, but I mean if one person taps the sticker, I will build the thing, okay, but I won't build the thing until somebody asks for it. Okay? And usually building a thing is just getting what's in your head into an actionable format. And you can do this really easy with something like ChatGPT. Okay? You then have your lead magnets, your email sequences should all be automated. Your podcasts and long form video, I recommend doing podcasts over a long form video because they're super easy to do. You can get tons out there. And honestly, within 2025, the podcast has probably been the best or the most positive thing I have done for my business. The amount of people and the amount of feedback I've had from my podcast and the amount of people essentially joining the program because they've consumed the podcast has been mind-blowing. And it's so easy to do and it's free. There's nothing stopping all of you putting together a 5-minute podcast today and getting it out there. Okay? And it goes a really long way for building trust and it's really easy to consume because most people listen to podcasts when they're walking their dog or when they're driving to work. They don't have to sit there and open up a YouTube video or a webinar. Okay? And that all leads to your campaigns, what we call Shake the Tree campaigns. Okay? And we run a Shake the Tree campaign every month. Essentially, you want to be attracting leads on a daily basis, signing clients on a weekly basis through your other strategies, but then you run something called a Shake the Tree campaign on a monthly basis, and you want to have 3 really good Shake the Tree campaigns that you just rotate on a monthly basis that will essentially sign 3 to 10 new clients every single month like clockwork. And this is what's going to stop you from getting distracted. You figure out what those 3 things are that you're going to do, or you just ask me to tell you. And then you just rotate them, and every time you come back around, you learn from what you did last time, and you make it better, and you optimize it. Every month, you're not thinking, what shall I do this month to try and generate leads? Shall I do a webinar? Shall I do a new lead magnet? Shall I do, and all that kind of stuff. You build upon it each time. Now, all of these things, and this is the trick, need to be connected. And they all pull in, okay, towards your campaigns. Okay, does that make sense? So this is what we mean by omnipresent content. So content on all platforms. Okay, this is Sally. So Sally has actually recently joined the 10k club. She's just hit her 3rd month in a row, hitting, I actually think she's on about 14k at the moment. She hit 10k, she hit 11k, then she hit 14k. The month before her first 10k, she was on 3k. Okay, big jump. She's just started hiring her team. So she's got an assistant coach helping her out now. I think she's about to sign someone to handle like her leads and her chats and all that kind of stuff. And she's living the life out in Marbella. And this all came through just adding in these automations within her content, okay, and producing content on different platforms. She also works with lots of partners and do lots of what they called like affiliates and things like that. It works really, really well for her. Last month, she ran her first Shape the Tree campaign, which was one of our giveaway campaigns, and I think she had 200 people enter it and made an absolute ton of sales. Cool. So I know that we're actually running over on time, by the way, guys. I know that we're already 60 minutes in. We're probably going to be another 20 minutes. So if you're getting value from this and you want to carry on, please do. I'm going to. If you do need to jump on, I do understand. So if you do have to leave, by all means, you can do. But I'm going to keep going until the end of this. You can probably see in the corner, we're on slide 41 out of 65, but I'm going to try and speed up a little bit for you. So talking about podcasts, I do have my own podcast. If you've liked all the stuff that we've been talking about so far, I've got, I think 22 actionable podcasts on there. They're all about 10 to 15 minutes long. And in my humble opinion, they're absolute gold for online fitness coaches. So just give that code a scan if you want to go check it out. And yeah, you can start listening. Every podcast is essentially one actionable step about something in particular. So it might be lead gen, it might be sales, it might be automation, and you can learn all about it for free. Okay, so the income gap. So we're going on to solving that problem of inconsistent income. So the vast majority of coaches fit into this horrible chunk of the pie. Probably talking 90% that aren't earning as much money as what they'd like to, and probably sitting under $5,000 per month. Okay, so this bit. Not enough. Whereas you have this small chunk, like 5 to 10%, that are earning all the money. And the annoying thing about this is you've probably all seen these coaches that you know you're better than, that you're all great coaches. And like I've checked a lot of you out. I know that you're good coaches, and you've probably seen some coaches that you think the stuff that I do is so much better. I have much more of an impact upon my clients than what that guy does. How is he living the dream in Dubai or Thailand or Bali, and is making hundreds of thousands and all that kind of stuff? And it's really, really annoying, and it's really, really common. Anyone experienced that? Anybody seen that? Yeah, quite a lot of nods. The difference is they've learned how to sell. You can be an incredible coach, but if you do not learn how to sell, you will always cap yourself. Okay? So that's what we're going to try and teach you a little bit of. Now, we're going to address your offer in particular. So I think sales is too much to go into in terms of this webinar, or we will be here for hours. There are a couple of podcasts, by the way, with some sales episodes, so jump on that. What we're going to address today is your offer. So how to create an offer so good it sells itself. Most of you, or I think a lot of you, would have put an amber or a green for this when we did your business audit at the beginning of this webinar. And the truth is, most of you are actually in a red. Most coaches' offers stink. They think they're good, but they're the same as everybody else's. What makes a good offer is a promise, a guarantee. Hopefully you can read my writing. That's terrible. Bonuses, scarcity, and urgency, and payment plans. I don't really like the word payment plans. I think it just should mean easy way to get started. How many of you have all of those components within your offer? Okay, nobody. So this is one quick win you can take away. How can you adapt all of these things into your offer? So what's the promise? What's the outcome? We don't sell features, we sell outcomes and benefits. Okay. What's the guarantee? Try not to go down the route of guarantee of, and I did this one mistake that I learned from is, if you don't get the result that you came for, was it within 6 months, I'll coach you for free. Okay, really common guarantee, but what it does is it celebrates bad behavior, rewards bad behavior. Okay, you could do everything for that client. If they're not the one pulling their finger out, you're the one that essentially is in the shit. Okay, bonuses. Now, what I like to do with my bonuses is I like to link them to scarcity and urgency. Join within the next week, or join with it before the end of the month, and you'll get X, Y, and Z. Yeah. And then payment plans. How can you make it super simple to get started? And for most of you, you probably have two offers. You probably have your upfront. I don't know if this is going to show. Oh yeah, it does. That's cool. So you have your upfront offer, and you have your MRR offer. And I imagine for most of you, this upfront offer is probably sitting at somewhere around 1 to 1.5k for like a 6 month, maybe it's 3 month to 6 month program. And your MRR is probably looking something like 200 to 250 pound a month. Does that sound about right? How many people are doing that? Or something very similar to that? Yeah, most of you. There's a bit of an issue. To be honest, it's not the worst thing in the world. Like, you're giving two options. The upfront payments are nice because they top up our bank balance. The MRR is nice because it's creating that comfort cushion in the background. However, the problem is we have to choose between one or the other doing it this way. It's nice to get upfront payments, but we're constantly chasing the next sale, which is stressful. Okay, and this is where the reliability and consistency within your business is lost. It's nice to build MRR in terms of building that comfort cushion, but it takes a lot of new clients to get this anywhere where we probably want it to be. If you sign 4 to 6 clients this month, but they all join on an MRR package, you haven't made a hell of a lot of money in terms of what you've made that month. Yet the value is spread across 3 to 6 months, but it's not as much as if you just sold 1 or 2 upfront payments. So the nuisance is we have to choose between one or the other. Has anyone kind of found that frustration before? Yeah? Okay, so what we've devised is essentially, oh, sorry, not on that slide yet. I'll tell you about it in a second. So hold your breath. So we want something that is simple and straightforward. We want something that makes sales really easy, and we want something that pays you well and reliably. Okay, essentially, we want to have the apple and the donut. Okay? And it's called the hybrid offer. Okay, it's something that I use myself. It's something that a lot of my coaches are using, and we're all having this is brand new for 2025 as well. I don't think a hell of a lot of people are doing this right now, and it works really, really well. So you're getting a little bit of an insider secret here. So the hybrid offer is, you don't have to do it this long, but I would pitch it as a 12-month offer. Okay? Forget selling for 3 months, forget selling for 6 months, try and sell a 12-month program, because you all know that you need 12 months with a client anyway to have the impact that you want upon their lives. The issue with selling a 12-month program is we feel like it's going to be harder to sell. One, because it's got to be really expensive to actually facilitate your time. And 2, your client might be thinking, but I want my result now. I don't want to wait 12 months for my result. So what you do is you have to paint the picture of a timeline. Now, most coaches, when they sell, they talk about their program, they talk about nutrition and all this kind of stuff, but they don't actually talk about, or they might talk about one outcome at the end of the program. I want you to talk about multiple outcomes. You're all amazing coaches. You can all do lots of different things for your clients. You can all have a huge variety of different impacts upon your client's life. It's not just, I'll help you lose fat, I'll help you get fitter, I'll help you get stronger. Okay? So what I propose you do is you pitch a 12-month offer and you split it into phases, and you talk about what you're going to be working within those phases. And you make sure that all of those phases are the things that your niche wants. And obviously make sure that you can fulfill those things, those promises. Otherwise, your client is going to leave. So think about everything you can do for your client and then chunk them into phases across the year. And now, so What I compare this to a lot of the time is, if you buy a new laptop or you buy a new phone, Apple does this really well. And what you do is you think about what you need out of, let's say, a laptop. I need a camera. I need to be able to access the internet. I need a certain amount of memory. I need a certain amount of speed. And then all of a sudden you start looking at laptops, and the laptop that you wanted to begin with, or all of the stuff that you needed, isn't good enough anymore. And now you start noticing all of these upgrades, and you no longer need, and now you need the upgrades. Like, you can't live without the upgrades, or you can't live without the model, which is 3 times more expensive than the original model that you looked at. What Apple are doing is they're walking you up this price ladder. They're bumping you up. You want to bump your clients up like a timing ladder. Most coaches only sell 3 months because it's easy. But the thing is is after 3 months, you've got to sell them the program again. Okay, and you haven't had the impact that you want upon that client's life. Okay, get your client on board for 12 months. And I actually haven't had any pushback on 12 months. Okay, I know that I need 12 months working with someone to have the impact that I want upon their life and their business. So why would I sell a 3-month program? I feel like I'm actually doing someone an injustice if I sell them a 3-month program, because we haven't got the time. So what I do is I introduce phase 1, which is where we're going to have a big result. Okay, within phase 1, my phase 1 lasts 60 days. This is where I'm going to get you a big return on your investment. Okay, we're going to do some big needle movers within your business, and I want you to do the same for your clients. Okay, this is where I'm going to get you the result that you came for. So for example, this example is essentially I'm going to drop all the weight. We're going to rapid fat loss. Phase 2 is where we start building lean muscle. Okay, a lean muscle matrix. It helps if you give it a sexy name, by the way. So lean muscle matrix. That's going to last 30 days. At the end of that 30 days, we go into photo shoot prep. Maybe it is Photoshop prep. Photo shoot prep. Okay, that's phase 3. That's going to last 15 days. Then we jump into cover model strength. Okay, this is really fun. This is where you're going to be lifting the big weights. Okay, after we've built some strength, we're then going to start building some muscle mass. Okay, cover model muscle. This is where we go into our hypertrophy phase. Okay, this is going to last 60 days. Then we go into our cover model shred. So we're going to reveal all this new muscle that you've just built. Okay, and we're going to top it off with a professional photo shoot. So this is how I built my program, not around just the quick fix or the quick win that I'm going to give my client, but essentially I've given them, I don't know how many things there are there, 7 things that they're going to look forward to, and now that they suddenly want. They came to you for fat loss, but now they can't live without those other 6 things. Does that make sense? Yeah, cool. Anyone like that idea?
Idea.
Yeah, sorry, Joe.
I love this idea.
Perfect, cool. It's great for both of you. 1, because it signs a client up for a much longer period of time. Okay. And 2, it's great for you. It's great for you because you signed up for someone for a longer period of time, but it's great for your client because you're committing to them and you're actually planning out their year. Okay, rather than, I think what a lot of coaches do is they sign someone up on like a quick win, and then after 4 to 6 months, and you hear this all the time, the clients kind of just fade into the background and you don't even know if they're still doing your program. They're paying you the £200 a month, but they're hardly on. Yeah, you can Sam, by the way. But they're not showing up to check-ins, or they're not talking in the group, or yeah. Sorry, Sam, jump in.
Yeah, so this is awesome. I'm just thinking like how you were. I don't know if you're about to go into this, and I'm sort of like jumping the gun with it, but with the mountain bike athletes, like for a lot of them, they have a summer race season, and I've got 3 seasons essentially, so it worked pretty well because I try and sell them for a 12. I actually got my payment plan off one of your podcasts that you did, which was like the $200 a month, or like the 1k for 6 months, and you get a 5th free. So I started using that for a bit, which was nice. But the 12 months works really well because I've got this off-season, pre-season, in-season for around their racing. So like, how would you, in terms of obviously offering people the 12-month, like how could, like obviously on the call I could be like, this is what I want for all my athletes going forward, but like how would you maybe price that and sell people onto that over, getting them on a monthly rolling basis?
So essentially you'd have to build this around their season. So it might have to change based on what month you're in. So you might have to tweak your document. I don't know if you sell over the phone or sell over Zoom. Most of my coaches sell over Zoom using a document very similar to this. But on a month-to-month basis, you might just have to, the easiest way, I think, I probably have to think about this a little bit more, to be honest, But the easiest way would just be to switch these around based on whereabouts you are currently compared to where the season's going to be.
Yeah. Oh no, that's sorry. In terms of the pricing model. So
I get you.
Be like, yeah. Sorry. So would you be like, okay, it's $2,000 for 12 months, or something like how would you price it with?
Yeah, this is what we're going to go into. So this is completely up to you. So yeah, sorry. I think this might be on the next slide.
Sorry, I'm way ahead. Yeah.
No, don't worry, it's okay. So the way that I price this is we want to make this really simple and really easy to get started. Okay. So what I do is I do price this first block as quite a bit because I have to put in a lot of work for this person here. Okay. And we're going to get them quick, like big wins within this. Like this is where they're going to have most of the impact within the program because they're super motivated. They're gonna smash it. They're putting in all of their effort, and so are you. You're putting in a lot of time into them. You're onboarding them. You're doing kickoff calls. You're making sure that they're happy. And everything's understood. So you want to make sure that you are getting a bit of money up front. So phase 1 would usually be something like £500. Okay, and the reason you can price this higher, and this can last either 30 days or 60 days. So what I do is I actually make my phase 1 last 60 days. So you pay your upfront fee and then you pay nothing for 60 days and then the MRR kicks in. Okay. Just because that's because my program's a little bit more expensive than what your program would be. So what I don't want to do is charge someone a large amount of money right at the beginning and then charge them a decent amount of money again the following month. I want to give them a little bit of a respite so that they can earn that money back and essentially pay me off from the profits that they make within their business. Okay, but this is completely up to you. You don't have to do that. I think it is especially if you are bumping up the price for that phase 1, it is nice to give someone a little bit of a breather for a month, but you don't have to do it if you don't want to. You can move into the next month. And then what you do, so this would last 1 to 2 months. It's up to you. And then you would move into 10 further months of your £200 to £250. So what we've done is I've made it really easy because your offer before was probably 1 to 2k or 200 to 250 a month. And you had to choose between that one or that one. This is great because it pays you up front, but it's really hard. There's not a lot of clients that are going to have that money just sitting in the bank to be able to pay you for that. This is nice for you, makes it really easy to get started, but it takes a lot of these clients joining your program to actually build anywhere near 10k a month, for example. What this program does is it doesn't pay you as much as that 1 to 2k up front, but you are getting a decent amount of money up front, but then you're securing £2,000 to £2,500 worth of work across that year signed up. In fact, it's actually even more than that. It's £2,500 to £3,000. My maths is terrible. Sorry, this is why I became coach. Okay, does that make sense? So I've made the offer easier to get started for my client. Okay, because the only thing that they're thinking about is what am I going to do here, and is it affordable on a month-to-month basis? Like, can I afford it now? Can I afford this amount now? And then can I afford these payments? Do I want those things bad enough to justify that cost? And the cost is low enough that yes, but you've just secured £2,500 to £3,000 worth of work for you across that year with one client, and it's locked in. Does that make sense? Does that answer your question, Sam? You can offer the upfront as well, by the way. So, and I do this. So I say, okay, my program is X amount upfront. You're going to save yourself, this much money, or I call this pay as you profit, or you can go into my pay as you profit payment plan, and then I'll pitch this. I call it pay as you profit because essentially what we do is, I'm just going to rub out all this for now, is we run a shake the tree. We work on all the basic principles in phase 1, and then we run a shake the tree at the end of phase 1 that essentially signs 5 to 10 brand new clients for your business. If you sign those 5 to 10 brand new clients for your business, you've paid for me for the entire year. And then you never even notice these 10 monthly payments because they're just coming out of the profits of your business. So you never actually pay yourself, apart from that upfront fee for the first 60 days, you're paying from your business. So it makes it super easy for your client to get started, and it's great for you because you're now starting to build a consistent and reliable business with consistent and reliable income. Does that all make sense? I know that's a little bit like, there's a lot going on there. Yeah? Cool. Anyone fancy giving that a go? Anyone fancy implementing that within their business? A couple of nods? Yeah, a couple of them. Yeah, cool. Okay, if you want any help with that, I do have a podcast that goes over it, and just reach out to me if you want a little bit more help in terms of pricing and things like that. There are a few like little nuances to it, like how you address it within your sales call and the amount that you charge up front. You can actually charge where I know that the idea that I gave you was essentially £500 for like this phase one, and then 10 times 200 to 250. I've got someone who charges 1k here, and I think I've got another person who charges $1,500. That first amount is based on what this promise is. Okay, you probably all heard the phrase fix rich people problems, or the bigger the problem, the more you can charge for it. It's kind of that same principle here. So the bigger that problem, or the more pain that problem is, or that thing is solving, the more you can charge up front. Okay. So for you, for example, Sam, if you've got like a pro rider who's obviously got the money there, and it's a big issue for them, especially what you deliver within that first 60 days, because you could be, knocking off a lot of time for them, or, improving their performance by a certain amount, which means better placings, which means more sponsorships, and etc., etc. You can charge a lot for that first chunk. Okay, so the way that, I probably don't need to go into this, what you kind of want to aim for is using organic content and using ad strategies and using the omnipresent content campaigns and all of these different things like email marketing and podcasts and all this kind of stuff to generate leads every day. And if you want to hit 10k a month, you're probably looking at like 5 new leads every day. Okay, and why does my pencil keep turning off? 1 to 2 new clients on a weekly basis. But then what you want to do is run a Shake the Tree campaign once a month. That signs 3 to 10. And you can sign more than 10, to be honest, depending on what the campaign is and how big your audience is. For the average, for the majority of my coaches, they usually sign 3 to 10 during these campaigns. And these are things like giveaways, challenges, webinars, and all that kind of stuff. Okay, this is Farron. He did exactly that. He went from 5k, so he had about 200,000 followers, and he was only making 5k a month, which was like a mystery. It was like, how? Like, you must be doing everything wrong. And he won't mind me saying this. And essentially what he'd done is he'd gone down the route of low ticket. His offer was terrible, and his program, not his program in terms of what it was delivered, but how he kind of pitched it was terrible. He had tons of churn, loads of admin, and he essentially capped himself at 5k, even though he had a ton of people actually coming into his program. Okay, the main thing that we did within his business was fix his offer. Yeah, and he shot from 5k to 25k while he was in the army. And now he's left the army now, and he just does all these crazy like world record stuff. He's just rucked, which is like a big backpack. I think with like 30 kilos or something. That from Land's End to John O'Groats in so many days. He's a madman. But yeah, the thing that I want to get across with all of these kind of case studies that I've shown you is they're all normal people. They're not like, they're exactly like you. Farron's a little bit different because he had a huge following, but that doesn't come without its own problems. Now, all of you might be thinking, I'd love 200k followers. I think it's actually 260k followers. But what that actually means is he wastes a hell of a lot of time with tire kickers and fans, essentially. So yes, he has a lot of leads, but he has a lot of unqualified leads, and he has to find ways to systemize his business. And that's what essentially we've done for him. And he operates that 25k per month business with just him and one assistant coach. So our final chunk of the webinar, and I'm going to try and speed through this so we only take up 5 more minutes of your time, the 4-hour workday. Kind of the reason why I imagine the majority of you are all here. Now, the 4-hour workday is not a myth, but I do want to put the 4-hour workday in like a quotation marks. What we want to build is a business that we can operate within 4 hours per day at maximal capacity if we need to. Okay? The thing here and the key word is choice. I can do this, but I don't. I work a lot because I love my work. Like, I love coaching you guys. I love building new things for you guys. It's how I want to spend my day. So it's part of how I build like my dream life. So I usually work, like 8 hours a day, sometimes a little bit more. But the key is the choice. I know that I can work 4 hours a day if I want to, and my business would still run smoothly. Now, the difference here is you have to differentiate between working within your business and working on your business. Okay. The within part should fit into 2 hours of your day. Everything else should be working on your business, taking it to the next level. Okay. So I think this is our last exercise for this webinar. We have something called the impact ratio. And what I want you to do is, I want you to think about, it says income impact ratio. It's not income, it's actually time impact ratio, not income impact ratio. But yeah, what I want you to do is to draw 7 squares, okay, on your piece of paper. And I want you to think about how you serve your clients. Is it one-to-one? Is it one-to-many? And think about the amount of effort that you have to put in per client. So are you producing, are you, I've done this on a black background. I've kind of killed myself here. It's not really going to work. Are you doing all of this time, all of this effort, all of these social media posts, all of this onboarding, all of this programming yourself for one person, or maybe 2 people? Think about the ratio of your time to your impact or your effort. Let's get rid of this income. Now, if it looks something like this, okay, which is usually like on a 7, or this is like a 5-to-2 kind of ratio, you're going to burn out very quickly and you're going to cap yourself in terms of income. Okay. What we want is to be putting in 1 to 2 pieces of time and effort and having a huge amount of impact on multiple people. Sorry, I know this is really scatty. Okay? And that's what we want to try and build. I'm going to show you a couple of the different ways that you can do this. And you might be thinking, but I'm a fitness coach, or I'm a nutrition coach, or I'm a health coach. Like, I work with people on a one-to-one basis. I'm in exactly the same boat as you. I work with coaches on a one-to-one basis. And I do actually work with people on a one-to-one basis. Like, we jump on multiple calls. Everybody has my personal WhatsApp number. But I serve on a one-to-many basis. I'm going to show you how you can do this. And these are things like, in fact, before we get to that, let's do a quick, this is another quick task I want you to do, just to help you audit your own life and your own business. So what I want you to do is look at these tasks: content creation, conversations, sales, onboarding, programming, fulfillment, business development, probably tasks that you do on a day-to-day basis. And I want you to write down in that little box on the left-hand side how many hours you spend on each thing per week. And then I want you to color code it red or green, whether you hate it or you like it. So if you spend 12 hours a week in conversations with leads and you hate it, then it will be a 12 and a red color. So in terms of, say, content creation, I probably spend, I think it's probably about 5 hours per week in content creation. And I quite like that. So I'm going to score myself a green. Conversations, to be honest, this is one thing that does take up a lot of my time. All of my clients have my personal WhatsApp number, so I pretty much get about 40 texts every single day. So I spend, but good thing is I like it. How much time do you spend on sales? You probably want to spend more time on sales, I imagine, actually. So that might be one that you need to reverse. Fulfillment is in terms of fulfilling your clients' expectations. So they're probably not just coming to you for a training program. They're coming to you for more than that. And we want to give them more than that. Okay. And this goes back to what I mentioned at the beginning of the webinar in terms of education, accountability, empowerment. Yeah, how do you do those things? A lot of you, it's by sending, PDFs and webinars and videos. It might be doing loads of calls, loads of voice notes, loads of texts, teaching the same thing multiple times to multiple people. Thanks, Jord. Okay, so everybody done? Just give us a quick nod or a quick thumbs up. Yeah, thanks guys, cool. Now what I want you to do on the right-hand side is, you don't have to color code this, but I want you to write down how many hours per week you would like to be spending on these things. I think when it comes to like automation, systems, maybe even hiring, we it's that decision paralysis, action paralysis. No, yeah, decision paralysis. I can't remember what the phrase is now. And because there's so many options, it's hard to make a decision. Thanks, Sam. No problem at all. I'll catch you tomorrow. Sorry, going back to what I was saying. So the point of this is to help you decide where you need to spend some time working on your business to help to essentially buy back your time. Okay, everybody finish that? Yeah? Cool. So hopefully this has just indicated to you, okay, yeah, conversations is where I need to save a little bit of time. Or I need to work on my content creation, or I need to become more efficient with my onboarding. For multiple reasons. Okay, so these are kind of the main tasks in our business on the left-hand side. Lead generation, nurture, sales, onboarding, delivery, fulfillment. Again, these are just some simple things that we can do very quickly to start saving us time, buying back our time, or essentially scaling and growing within those aspects of our business. So in terms of lead generation, once you've nailed your organic content, next step is paid ads and potentially a setter working within your DMs. Okay, having your conversations for you, taking someone from cold lead to a warm lead and booking calls for you. Okay. You might be thinking, I don't really want someone in my business. They don't really know my clients. They don't really know, how I speak. You have to train them. They know how to have a conversation with someone, with a customer, better than what you can. I promise you, because they do it all day, every day with hundreds and hundreds of people. They know the right types of questions to ask. What you need to do is just train them in your business and your personality and how you speak. Okay. And I'm not talking about using a setter for cold DMs here in outreach. You can do if you want to. I don't teach that because I hate it. It's not the type of business that I want to build, but using a setter for your inbound. And this is what I spoke about before. If you're using a really simple ad, driving traffic into your to your Instagram profile, then using that nice icebreaker video, you'll generate so many conversations, and the amount of conversations isn't capped. If it's performing well, keep scaling up the ads, you'll get more people following you, you can send out more icebreakers, you can have more conversations. But at some point, you're not going to be able to do this, and that's when you hire a setter. Okay, nurture. So a really great way to nurture prospects is with an omnipresent content campaign. So you essentially want to systemize that and automate. When you post to one place, it posts to multiple platforms, but you can also systemize the creation of your content. So when you I work down. So I create a podcast first and everything comes down from my podcast. And I can create, I've forgotten what it is now, but it's something like 8 pieces of content across 5 different platforms in an hour. Okay. Sales. So we use something called the selling sequence. And essentially this is an automated email sequence that sells within email. I very rarely sell within short form content, essentially on Instagram. I very rarely sell on Instagram. All of my selling is done via email pretty much, and that's all automated. I have a sequence set up that it builds trust, it calls out the now buyers, so it prompts them to take action, and it builds trust with the later buyers and prompts them at the right time. Onboarding. So we use something called the onboarding portal, and you guys should too. So what most coaches do when they onboard a new client is they've just got off the phone with them, and then they have to send them this thing and that thing, and this is the app you're going to be using, and oh, you don't know how to use the app. Here's a video that shows you how to use the app. Oh, you've never had MyFitnessPal before. This is the link for MyFitnessPal. Oh, here's this ebook for you. Here's this number. Please join this group. Ton of admin work for you. Lots of little tasks that just take up energy and take up brain space. And it's also messy for your client. You want to make a really good impression. Okay, so if someone comes into your business and they're probably feeling a little bit anxious, and they're probably feeling maybe a little bit of like buyer's remorse, they don't really know what to expect, you need to make sure that they get a big welcome into your business. They know exactly what to expect, they know exactly what they need to do, and we can do that with an onboarding portal. It essentially hands over all of the admin work to your client, but they'll be happy about it because they're receiving something for their money up front. They don't have to wait for you to send them all of these links and load them onto the app and then give them the program and all this kind of stuff. Delivery, we use something called the empowerment sequence. Again, this is another automated email campaign. Ours is 150 days long. I wrote it myself, and essentially what it is, the first 7 days, your client gets an email every single day that goes over the onboarding steps again, or the welcome steps. Then they get an email every 3 days, I think it is, which is like valuable information. And this could be anything. It could be about stress, sleep, training, protein, water, anything. You just fill it full of value. And then what you can also do is lace it with little admin tasks like, hey, check out my podcast here. This is my referral scheme. Please leave me a review on Trustpilot. All of these little things that you probably forget to do can just be bundled into this email campaign. You don't have to think about it. But what we're doing here, which is really important, is adding touch points. So we want our client to feel like you're getting in touch with them or you're contacting them 4 or 5 times every single week. I think what most coaches do is they might put a couple of notes within TrueCoach or FitArt or whatever they're using for their app, and then they'll do their check-in at the end of the week, and they all have a little bit of guilt about under-delivering. Okay, you can know that you're delivering an excellent service if you know that your client has access to you through like a WhatsApp group. Maybe it's some kind of portal. Maybe you do a group call, which I do recommend because you can teach on this group call and build a community as well, which helps with, I can't think what the word is now. My brain has just gone dead. Sorry, it's nearly 10 o'clock here. You can keep the client for longer, is what I'm trying to say. Okay, moving on to fulfillment. Easiest hire to make is an assistant coach. And this ghost coach. And this is what I recommend the majority of the time for most of our clients. So the first hire that they make is a ghost coach. Just someone that you can pay, say, £500 a month to, who sits inside your coaching program, comments on all of your clients' workouts, on their videos. You can even get them to do check-ins, program updates, takes away a lot of that's a big amount of time on your weekly basis, for you on a week to week. You can take that away quite cheaply. There's a lot of really good coaches out there who are terrible at running their own business and would just love to sit on TrueCoach while they're watching a movie at night for an hour and earn 500 quid at the end of the month. Okay, and we've set up loads of coaches with these like partnerships in the past, and they work really, really well. They very rarely, go sour. Okay, so you want to think about building a skinny team. And what I mean by a skinny team is that what I think most people do when they think about hiring is they try and find that one perfect person, and then they stress over paying them, 2.5, 3, 4 grand a month. And the big reason why they procrastinate on this, or why they delay the decision, is because they think, if I have a bad month, I don't want to have the stress of thinking about how I can pay that person. So rather than paying one person that you think might be good at everything, you hire a skinny team of experts in their field. So you hire a setter at £500 per month. You hire an assistant ghost coach at £500 per month. You might hire a salesperson on a commission basis. You might have a VA who sits in there on £500 per month. Essentially, you want this team of people who are working 10 hours per week for you, but essentially on a relatively low wage. You need to create SOPs for all of these people. So if they leave, you don't have to spend a huge amount of time or money trying to find someone new and training someone new. You can pretty much replace that person straight away, teach them straight away using your SOPs, and your business doesn't slow down because of it. So rather than looking for that one perfect person to hire a skinny team. Okay. So one last thing I wanted to kind of draw across just before we jump off is something called Parkinson's Law, which I know that you've all probably heard of. Is work expands as to fill the time available for its completion. So what I mean by this is you need to make sure that you're working on the tasks which are most important within your business and that move the needle within your business. Okay. The vast majority of you are you feel like you're working a lot on a day-to-day basis, but you're filling that time. Okay. Make sure that you're time blocking and first of all, you're working on your non-negotiable tasks. So so from here to here, this is your 4-hour work week. Work week. That's what's his name? The podcaster. Can't remember his name now. So the majority of that time should be your daily non-negotiable tasks, the tasks that keep your business moving. Okay. And then you've got a bit of business development in there, and that should probably be about 2 to 3 hours. About 2 to 3 hours. And then you have development for 1 hour. And this is where you're working on things like your lead magnets and your micro magnets. It might be working on, a landing page that you can send your new leads to after they've filled in like a booking a call page. Or for example, when you guys signed up for that webinar, you went straight through to a book a call page. Okay, that took me about 20 minutes to do. And I think I've booked 4 to 5 calls off the back of just installing that one page. Okay, little tweaks like that you can make that can have a really big impact within your business. And then the rest of that time, however long, and again, it comes back to choice, is all around business growth. So working within and then working on your business. You just have to make sure that you choose the right tasks. Okay? And hold yourself accountable. So what I used to do, I don't have it here. Oh, in fact, I've got my partners because we both made one. Is we actually built these like little planners, and in these planners we wrote down our daily non-negotiable tasks, and they were personal to us. And I just went to a printer and got them to make this little book for us both. So all the tasks that I know that I need to do, and they're very personal to me in terms of, well, there's fireworks going on outside. In terms of, you know, getting back to clients, in terms of producing content, I just have them as a checklist, and those are my non-negotiable tasks. Okay, this is Ellen. So when Ellen came over to our mentorship, she was doing pretty well, to be fair. I think she was on about 6 to 8k per month, but she'd capped herself because she had no more time and she didn't have any system. She was that person that was really good at marketing and really good at sales, okay, but had essentially capped out her business because she couldn't work with anybody else. She didn't have the time and she was overwhelmed. So first thing we did was install a ton of systems, ton of automations. We helped her sign, I think, one new member of staff, and she tripled her income within about 90 days and filled her one-to-one program. She now actually teaches other coaches. So she's doing really, really well. She was in Bali at the time. She's now in Dubai. So again, we're at the end of the webinar. Thank you so much, by the way. This is an hour and 40. I can't believe that you're still here. Hopefully it was worth it. If you'd like to book in a free 15-minute audit, you've got it just here. Just grab your phone, put the camera on that little QR code, and it will take you straight through to the booking system. And that's it, guys. Do any of you have any